Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we just had a Smackdown. I was gonna say a wonderful Smackdown, but it was a little rough in some parts. I think it was like slightly better than last week in some ways, and then worse in others. I don't know. They kind of rotate sometimes of how SmackDown is gonna be. So let's just jump into it. So it started off with some type of car wreck. I feel like they kind of rushed this segment to like really even understand what was going on. Like we knew something happened, but they didn't even go into it being like a car wreck until like actually after the segment and the announcers talked and all that. So sometimes when you do that, it's kind of makes it confusing. And maybe I was the only one that was confused, but it was just kind of a weird thing. I think the storyline in general wasn't that bad, but I think the start just kind of, at least to me, just made it a little odd. So yeah, it was something that paid off later, I guess. But yeah, the whole solo thing of the whole entire night. I didn't get a panel, I guess. I forgot I did, of Solo eventually going out there and talking later on about, pretty much everything that is, he's ready to take over and all that. And Jacob Fatu gets unarrested for this crime that he did not commit. And then it ended up with Solo being arrested. It was a pretty interesting one take of a story. I don't think we'll see much else of this, but it was at least interesting. Like I said, I'll probably put it in B. It's nothing too crazy. I just feel like this first part really wasn't. It was pretty poorly done. I don't know why they did it that way. Next up, they announced that we will have a women's tag match at SummerSlam. I'm actually really happy that they're actually going to give these titles a little bit of more shine with having some bigger players in the division. I know they fired like 90% of their tag teams, so it kind of felt like this division was going to die out, but this is actually pretty good. That it's actually the women's tag matches that are actually going to be um, on SummerSlam, and the men's probably won't be defended there. So I think that's at least something there. So I'll put up an S. I think it's a good idea. Next up, we had a like one-on-one match. It was Raquel versus Charlotte. They're gonna do like a back and forth here, where Charlotte faces Raquel, and then next week it'll be Alexa Bliss versus Roxanne Perez. This match was okay. I think it really just suffered from their two like wrestling styles just being kind of vastly different, and it just kind of looked clunky in some parts. I didn't really necessarily care that Charlotte won. I mean, I don't think it was a bad idea. I just think overall the match just kind of felt just discombobulated. It didn't really feel like they had any type of in-ring chemistry or on timing and stuff, and it just looked kind of awkward. So I'll put it down in C because it really was really bad for Raquel, who's like starting to try to build on like either an aura or like just some type of in-ring ability that people are going to get behind, and then a match like this happens and then it's like kind of gets drained because it's back to kind of what she had problems with all of last year. Next up, we had kind of an impromptu match. It was Damian Priest versus Carmelo Hayes. It was just so impromptu because it was like, Damian Priest is going to look for Malachi or Aleister Black, and then like R-Truth's in it, but then you just kind of throw Carmelo in it. I mean, I'm not ever upset when they have Carmelo on the show. I think he's criminally underrated. He's probably one of the better wrestlers in general in this roster, and he definitely wrestled around Damian Priest really well. I would definitely give him higher marks than Damian if I was gonna like dole it out. Like I'll probably put this match in B. It wasn't the greatest. I don't mind it as much because it was kind of like a means to the end. Like they got a decent amount of time out there for the DQ finish of Aleister Black taking out Damian Priest, which is fine. That was the vessel of what they were going to go for, anyways. But I really felt like they could have. They normally won't give him that much time, so I'm glad that happened. But I would definitely give like Carmelo's wrestling ability an A, and I'd probably give Damian Priest a C. He didn't really do much in this match in general. I don't even think he got put his little shirt down like he normally does. So I'll put it in B, but I think it was mainly Carmelo holding this off and the storyline making it better. Next up, we have Stephanie Vercor versus Alba Fire. Now, this match is a little disappointing to me because, like, if they actually just let these two wrestle, this would absolutely probably be a banger. And like Alba Fire's kind of just stuck in the secret Herbis because like obviously they fired her tag partner and she might have been on the chopping block next, so they did something for her. So I'm glad she still has a job, but she can't have a 2 minute match here. This should have at least been like an 8 or 9 minute match and actually have some offense here. I mean, for one, it was a 2v1 and it didn't really feel like Piper Niven did anything to help, and they just kind of attacked her afterwards, and that didn't wasn't even successful. So I'll put it in C because what Stephanie did in the 2 minutes was really great, but I really couldn't put it much higher than that. It was one of the better 2 minute matches I've ever seen, but is that really saying much? I don't think so. Next up, we had the tag match. It was four tag teams against each other. It was Ray and Andrade versus DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns versus Fraxium. This match was obviously really good, but I definitely think it could have been better. Like, this is some really good teams involved. One, I got to put a side note. Ray Phoenix's outfit, it was atrocious. I don't know what he was wearing. I like the color scheme, I like that, but the like, it felt like one piece jumpsuit, including his mask. Like everything was just one giant piece, but it didn't work for me. I hate that Fraxium lost this. I feel like they definitely just kind of are getting pushed back there. They're not getting their time in the light. All of a sudden, Andrade and Ray Phoenix, like they're a brand new tag team. They should not be the number one contenders here. They've done decent work, but like this was been the perfect time to have somebody else kind of jump the line and get that tag match, so that we didn't have to worry about them always having to be super red hot. I guess I don't know. It's just I don't know. The match itself, I put in a solid A. Deserved to be the main event match. I felt like it did pretty good altogether, between everybody in there. I really don't think there was a weak link. Everybody really had some good spot to shine. I think the worst part was when Axiom got taken out to the outside. Nobody really caught him, so I'm hoping he's okay. His back went straight to the ground, so I don't like that at all. That kind of sucked, but I would put the match all together into a B. A, sorry. Next up, we were just basically that was the number one contender match. So next week it will be them versus the Wyatt Sick. I mean, I would be happy if they pulled the trigger here, but that's the problem. Like they built Ray Phoenix and Andrade, and they been destroying all these other teams that are like legitimate. So then it's like, okay, well then they got high stock in them, but they're definitely not winning here. It's definitely gonna be like a DQ finish with like the Street Profits coming down or something, or like it's not gonna be a win because like, this is their first title defense. They've only had the title for like what 2 weeks, so yeah, unfortunately, this one's not going to play out the way that it should. So I'll put it up in A because I think the match will be good, but I wouldn't put it any higher because I don't think it's going to be much of anything. Then we finished off with John Cena and Cody Rhodes, with Cena saying that he is not going to make it to SummerSlam. I think it was a nice twist because he was just like, yeah, I just can't do it. We're not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And he's like, if I sign the contract, then I have to go, but I'm not signing it, which is just dumb because the way that they finished it out, because eventually Cody just makes him sign it, and I'm like, that's not how contract law works, but it's okay. I mean, if that's what they want to do, but it was a nice little twist. I think it also, Cody's been struggling to like regain his like spot as a baby face. I think a lot of people are ready for him to turn heel, so if he doesn't turn heel anytime soon, they're just kind of get a little upset with his character. And so they've been kind of like peppering in those boos when he comes down, and I think he's getting more and more, and especially against Cena, where like Cena was so hated that like everybody started liking his character, and now it's kind of flipped, and so they had to do something like this to really turn the crowd back on Cena. So I think it was a nice choice. I think it worked out pretty well too. I think Cody Rhodes looked a little bit better. He obviously looked really strong by putting John Cena for the table and getting him the sign and all that. So the segment cooked. I mean, it's these two. These people are John Cena and Cody Rhodes always put on a great show. So I'll put that up in S tier. I think overall, I'd probably put the show around a B. I mean, it was nothing too crazy. The matches were definitely lacking. I feel like the story itself was pretty decent, but sometimes you can't just always have good promo segments. And this 2 hour window thing, I just still am not a big fan of it. They have not figured out their pacing. These matches were so little. Because look at, we got 9 minutes for the Roxanne one, 8 minutes for the Damian Priest, 2 minutes for the Stephanie, and then 15 for the tag. which the 15 minutes for the tag should still be higher. Stephanie should have got more minutes. Like, this is only literally like 34 minutes of wrestling on a 2 hour show, which I know they got a lot of other segments and stuff, but you can't tell me that they couldn't have gotten an extra 4 or 5 minutes out there and even spread it across the matches, because there's definitely some needed here to make this a little bit more well rounded. And they really got to figure out this formula. This first part, like the first segment just was confusing and it went on too long, and it's just they had a bunch of other little vignettes in there. I really feel like they should really focus in on putting a lot of their vignettes on X and try to build that up where people need to go check it out to get some extra coverage, because like it works and they do other stuff, but like some of these vignettes that can really work better doing it there, or like a smaller version that they put on the show and a bigger version online, just because it's just it crowds up on some of these shows where they don't have time for the wrestling, and this was definitely one that they did. Sometimes they do it perfectly and you never notice it, but this one definitely struggled in that. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We do SmackDown, Raw, NXT, and Evolve, which is just a lot to say right now, but we do all 4 shows right now. Don't forget to check those out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.